How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show and my Stardrive Let's Play on May 1st, 2013. My name is OperationDx, and let's go ahead and get this next episode started. Last episode, we went ahead and stepped it back a notch and grabbed a couple more planets to build up our empire a little bit. And then finally, we moved ourselves into position to engage the relay devoted, and that's pretty much where we are right now. In a very similar manner to the way we engaged the Driect Council, we are going to engage the relay devoted. We're basically going to creep up and fringe on their territory real quick with our fleets. And again, our first group is our remnant frigates along with our starting frigate. The second group is our basic fighters with Vulcan cannons on them, and then our fifth group is our bombers, which are going to play a role obviously in this attack. And then as usual, I have my colony ship holding up the rear. Now that we're in position, we're going to go ahead and get this engagement started. It appears that the relay devoted's fear bar is not really that high, so they may actually have something to combat us. We're basically going in blind, just as we did with the Driect Council, so I have no idea what we're going to stumble across, and we're pretty much playing all our chips right now, and we have our entire fleet here, so if this gets wiped out, we may be in a situation. It definitely appears that they are ready to engage us, so let's go ahead and see how this all goes down. Again, standard tactics for me. I'm going to go ahead and send my colony ship to just follow a path around the star system. That way no one can engage it, and it will be free of damage when I try to actually get a hold of that planet. It seems that the relay were not quite as prepared as the Driect Council, and their fleet was swiftly defeated. They actually didn't do very much damage to my fleet at all. I didn't lose any of my fighters, which are low-level, pretty much beginning fighters, and I pretty much babysat a little bit in the beginning there, you saw. And sorry if it's a little bit annoying me pausing and shifting around combats, but I try to play very tactically, and like I said, and like I was explaining in previous episodes, I'm just trying to maintain that first fleet as long as I possibly can until they're no longer relevant. And now finally we have our bombers, and we now have a probably double-sized bomber group than we had when we attacked the Driect Council, and we're just doing a ton of damage to their homeworld. It appears that they actually had a total of 3 planets in 2 star systems, so we'll have to engage the 2 planets additional, and we'll probably have to reload our bombers because this first planet is always a lot to engage because of the high population, and it takes us a little bit and pretty much all the bombs to get that population off that planet. As you can see in the top of the right side info bar, we have unlocked the Corvette technology, and we will definitely spend some time and design a new Corvette, as this is probably going to be the last planet we're going to be able to engage with this low-tech fleet. We'll probably get wiped out. Even if we try to engage the polyps, I'm assuming the polyps probably have a bigger fleet. Even if they do just have that one planet, they are probably going to have a higher technology, and it'd probably be just a waste of time to not send over a more advanced ships. So we're just going to kind of build those. We're going to build a couple of additional groups of Corvettes, and we'll just see how everything plays out. We won't be probably engaging the polyps during this episode. We're going to need to finish off the relay and then rearm as usual. And then I'll stop to think about the possibility of maybe engaging the Corjazine or the Volfran, but I'm probably going to go after the polyps to get their planet so I can just get my empire up to speed and get faster production and research. And then we're going to probably do a big betrayal against the Corjazine. I don't know. We may take the Voltron down next after the polyps, but it really is hard to say at this point in the game. Things are definitely going to change after the polyps are out of the game, and I have to deal with the 2 bigger empires because they have clearly made a bunch of progress while I've been flying around and taking out these lesser developed races. And there we go. We now captured the relay home world, and we have another really good planet, and hopefully our transports will head over there and get some of our human brethren on that planet so that we can get that up and running quickly. And just for the record, I don't always play this evil, but I wanted to make this Let's Play, you know, pretty decent and entertaining, and basically, you know, something that would go by relatively quickly. I didn't want to drag this Let's Play on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So pretty much this is meant to be a 2-week Let's Play, and then, you know, you can get a really good idea of what the game of Stardrive is like if you haven't bought the game, and, you know, you can pretty much make a decision from there because you are going to get a thorough look at what this game is all about in this Let's Play. Now that our tree is done, we got to throw a couple more technologies in here. So we're going to do the fuel cells, which make them more effective. That's the first, makes them 25% more effective on the first one. Then our frigate hull, some better shields, the fighter shields. We probably should do the other ones. Let's see, what else do we want to throw in here? Just take a quick look around. Got the fuel cells, frigate. Well, that's good for now. The shields, we're going to need the higher tier shields at class 3s. Those, I believe, are 10,000 shields, and we'll probably need those a little bit later on. But we'll just get the fighter ones for now, so we have something to equip our Corvettes with, and that'll give them a little bit of protection while we go and set up to engage the polyps. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the diplomacy screen, and it looks like the Corjazine are #1 in military, #1 in science. The relay are not as powerful, that's for sure. The polyps are not too bad. They're #2 in science, actually, and I figured that would be something that definitely would play a role. There's no way we can get away with this really early on tech fleet. We're starting to probably fall behind a little bit. But we have to do the standard thing here. We're sending our bombers back to our homeworld where they can rearm so we can send them off and we can finish off the relay devoted. And I keep getting warnings telling me there's ships in that system, and of course there are because they have a planet in that system. But our fleet is up there guarding, and they don't have anything that's really going to be able to stop us as far as the fleet is concerned. In fact, they were not really that tough. They had a lot of starting ships, and I was surprised I was able to get away without taking too much damage. I think I may have lost one fighter or two, it looks like. That was a full pack, I think, or maybe just the one fighter. I'm not sure. But those are unguarded, unshielded fighters. I mean, I'm surprised that they actually survived in that fight. So now we're pretty much all rearmed here with our bombers, and we're just going to have to, yep, that's good. And we're going to have to just send them back into the fight. Go ahead and pause it real quick. I tend to do that a lot because I don't like to waste too much time. Not too much sitting around. Oh, look at this. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. The Dreylock Council was probably trying to do the same thing, but they actually successfully got a fleet into one of my star systems. And let's see, they may actually do something there because those star systems are completely undefended. If they have any troops, more than maybe 2 or 3, they will definitely be able to capture that planet down there. We're probably going to get a warning here in a little bit that they're invading one of my systems. Very good. I'm glad that they actually made an aggressive move towards me to make things a little more interesting. I prefer that, actually. But it's sad because I'm not actually defending my planets. And here they come. They're coming down on my planet. And it is absolutely undefended. And they're dropping the troops down onto my world. And I'm going to have to build some Marines and take this back. I guarantee they're actually going to take this. They're not going to have too much problem. It's a starting planet. It's barely up and running, and this thing is not going to be able to deal with these 2 soldiers. I'm surprised they're able to do it with 2, but this also exposes a weakness into my super aggressive strategy because I hadn't yet had time to place Marines down on all my planets and stuff. So that's why they were easily able to grab that. And I'm just grabbing and going, aggression kind of thing. So I'm going to have to do something about that very soon. We will continue our assault, business as usual, and then we'll send off a fleet to go deal with that situation down there. And hopefully it doesn't stall me too badly. And there it is. Nice play, Relay Devoted. They went ahead and they captured that planet. Now, that's the one we just captured before we went ahead and engaged the Relay Devoted. And I just specified that these planets aren't anything super crazy. Now, I probably would have been pissed if it was one of my bigger planets because I've also not have my other planets very guarded. So let's go ahead and get some soldiers up into orbit here. 3 should be enough because we're getting that nice bonus from that artifact, and that should be enough to take those 2 soldiers out. And I need to zip on over there really quick before they're able to build anything else additionally. But they really shouldn't because that planet's really kind of a starter planet, and I don't even think you can build Marines until you have the technology to have the base on there. So you can only really build Marines from your starting planet. And I don't think they'll be able to do anything about my incoming onslaught back to reclaim that. But I probably will have to send a fleet because it looked like they had a couple of ships there guarding their Marines. So maybe I can sneak them in real quick like I do with the artifacts. Drop the Marines down, take the planet, and just hope that none of those ships have bombs on them. It didn't look like they did, though. I haven't seen the AI do anything very similar to what I like to do with my bombers, and that is use my freighter hull and not wait around for a bigger hull class. Well, I guess I'm not going to go ahead and wait around for those remnant technologies. I'm going to go ahead and start designing my Corvette right now. I have sufficient technologies to build something that's kind of mean. It's not going to be epic, but it's going to be mean enough to, get that job done. It's more maneuverable than the bigger capital ships and slightly less maneuverable than the fighters, depending on how you set up the engines and stuff, but we only have 4 boxes for the engines. So we'll basically probably fit 2 warp engines and 2 regular maneuvering engines. So this one's going to be a little more protected than my other ships. It's going to have a basic shield system, which basically gives me about 2,000 shields. And then I got the large nuclear reactor and a couple other reactors down there on the bottom. And then, like I said, I'm going to do 2 warp engines and then 2 regular engines. And as I was describing before, I was thinking about doing the lasers, which we're going to probably do the point defense lasers and make this an all energy-based laser ship instead of going with the ammo, the Vulcan cannons, which actually do a bit more damage, but the lasers have a bit more range, so we can kind of try to keep things at a distance with this, but they do a lot less damage. So you got to put a bunch of them on there to do anything that's effective. So basically, they do about 10 damage a piece, and about 4 of them equals to about 1 Vulcan cannon, which is pretty pretty sad. But we got that one in the front, which is our heavy hitter, and you know, that's going to probably do the majority of our damage. We have not really unlocked any armor to stick on this thing, so I'm probably going to use the internal bulkheads, which will give us a little bit of damage protection after the shields go down, but not much. After the shields go down on this thing, it will be able to soak up a little bit of damage before it goes down, but we're going to go ahead and throw these internal bulkheads in here, and that will just give us slight protection. Obviously, the higher tier armor is much more effective in this kind of thing, but we've also got to place our cockpit in there, and that's something I forgot to do. So we pretty much removed one of our fuel cells, and we're going to go ahead and stick our cockpit in there. Now, the reason why I stick fuel cells in there is it gives us an energy reserve, and we're definitely going to need the energy reserve for the laser systems. Now that we have our design kind of wrapped up, we're going to go ahead and just adjust our fire arcs slightly. Although this is going to be mainly set up as a forward-facing fighter, I want most of my damage or DPS in the front of the craft, as this one's meant to be a little bit more maneuverable than the capital ships. Now, when we build a capital ship, we're going to want to definitely have powerful lasers, be able to fire in all directions in the front, sides, and rear, so that way when they get turned around, they can still do damage, because that tends to happen in the fight with the bigger ships. They always seem to get behind you, like ships get to behind you, and the best thing to do to combat that is to make sure you have weapons that can fire rear facing. And that's something you're definitely going to see me do later on when we get engaged with the big boys, the Hordrazine or the Volfran Imperium. And they're probably going to have all kinds of stuff. They're probably going to have destroyers, frigates, possibly even cruisers, and we'll have to consider building those things for ourselves. And you'll actually get to see what cruisers like in this game, unlike the ones I was talking about in the beginning of the game, which were in fact cruisers. They were frigates, because the cruisers are giant in this game. I don't know how far we'll get down the tech tree as far as the ships and technology and stuff. We will get a nice portion down, I guarantee, but I don't know if we'll finish the tree to see all this stuff that encompasses Stardrive. Anyway, now that we have our design finished, we're definitely going to want to put these ships into operation. So we're going to go ahead and set up a group here, and then we're going to probably just hit the requisition and build this time instead of individually going to the planets. Although with the bigger stuff, when things get much more expensive, we may go back to a manual type thing, as we probably are going to specialize in our industrial planets and our research planets. We want to make sure that none of our ships are building at our research planets, and to make absolutely sure that does not happen, we're going to just manually build some of the bigger ships at the industrial worlds that I specify. There's also some big expensive things we're probably going to want to get that does help production, such as the shipyard, space station, and that's something that really helps out. Of course, there are critical things too. The food's a big one. You don't realize that how much, if you have a lot of food being produced on your planet, all that stuff can be shifted off from actually making the food to actually producing stuff, and you'll see me do that, and it's just a huge thing. Of course, with all these big things being produced, it's going to take a big bite out of our budget, and if our planets can't maintain or cope with the amount of ships that we produce, we're definitely going to want to go down the banking tier or money tier of the tech tree. That way we can make a good amount of money to support our nice and powerful ships. Our bombers are once again back on duty, as they have been rearmed, and we're continuing our conquest here as we try to knock the relay devoted out of the game. Later on, I'll probably do one planet where I drop a whole truckload of Marines, just to show you guys what the aspect of the game is like when you try to conquer a planet with Marines. But at that point, they're probably going to have planetary shields, so we're probably going to need some sort of bomber to like knock down the shields so we can drop our troops down, and then we can watch all that goodness happen down on the planet's surface. And that's another one of those things that we haven't quite seen too often in 4X games, is that nice ground combat. I remember we had something like cool in Galactic Civilizations 2, but it was just kind of like this little, screen that showed numbers go off, and it was kind of like just these rolls that would go on in the background, and it definitely wasn't this cool, where you actually see the guys go into combat, and I think there's actually some kind of role mechanic going on in the background, based on, my troops are a little more powerful, and they've got these bonuses and that bonuses and stuff, so that's always cool to see. A long time ago, way back when, I played this game called Imperium Galactica 2. You may have heard of it. And it had awesome ground combat, and it was cool how you built your colonies up from, kind of like an RTS perspective on the landscape. And I always liked that about that game, and we haven't really seen anything else quite like it. It's just one of those things that seem to just completely get neglected throughout 4X games, and I don't get why ground combat doesn't play a huge role or is kind of overlooked in the designer's eye as something that's relevant to a 4X game. Because I think you could do some really cool stuff there. I mean, not to mention you could make like the whole ground combat thing a whole like other game kind of thing. Some of the more RTS type games have tried to do something like that, and it really, I remember seeing it for the first time with Empires at War, and I got all excited, oh, this is cool, but really it had a shallow overshell of a 4X game. There hasn't been a 4X game deeply that actually explored a really kind of cool combat system, or even throwing you into like a kind of RTS situation or whatever. So I was really happy to see that this game, even though it's not the most deep ground combat, it actually has a relevant ground combat throughout the game. And it's on now, Relay. So we're pretty much working now to get our planet back from the Relay Devoted, as they did a sneaky maneuver and captured this from us, which, normally would have distracted me in the earlier times of my playing of this game. But I went ahead and finished the job that needed to be done, took down all the planets originally, and then came back to hit this one because this one is less relevant. It's a brand new planet, and it's not gonna distract me. I'm going to get my work done, and then I'll come back here and go ahead and take care of business. So now that we got our troops into position, we're going to go ahead and drop them down, and this is great because these are the kind of things that I want to show you guys, and exactly plays into what I was just talking about a second ago with the ground combat. It's pretty cool. Don't worry, just zooming out for a second, looking at the landscape, making sure there isn't more ships about. We're going to zoom back down to the planet's surface and watch this combat take place. So here we go. Let's go ahead and see this get down. So we have a bonus on our guys, and this guy's already damaged. So we should have this one no problem at all. One more shot should do it, and he is gone down. We have recaptured the planet, and that signifies the end of the Relay Devoted. We've recaptured our planet, and let's see if they actually change this to something else other than Core World, because I want this on Core World. Of course they did. Switching it to agriculture. Are you kidding me? All right. So we finished the fuel cell project, a whole bunch of stuff here on the info bar we didn't clean up, some random events going on that doesn't affect us, and basically another random event that does not affect us at all. So that's pretty much it for the Relay Devoted. They are out of the game for this Let's Play, and we only have 3 more races to deal with. The polyps are next on the chopping block, and then we're going to have to see if the Corjazine or the Volfrin are the bigger threat. I'm probably going to go after the bigger threat first, and then we'll probably see a heck of a battle, but there's going to be a little downtime probably in between the polyps and the major engagement, which will probably be the largest battle in this Let's Play, and we'll go ahead, we'll probably slow down time for that one to half speed. And here we go, we can see on the diplomacy screen as we train our spies that we have wiped out 2 and 3 left to go. With the major battles completed in this episode, we're pretty much going to do our standard operational thing. We're going to send our fleets back to rearm, and you can see that that last battle was pretty mean to my ships. I lost a lot of Group 2, the basic fighters, in the engagement with the Relay. It appears that Group 3 is coming along nicely, and that is those corvettes that we built earlier on in this episode. And basically that is just filling in, and we are going to need those for the next major engagement with the polyps. But basically we're just getting everything back and rearmed, and that's pretty much it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching the DX Gamer Show and my Stardrive Let's Play. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next episode. Have a great day, take care, and see you guys later.